It's very important that it's affordable and that families can come because shows are very, very expensive. It can cost
Mhm.
$1,000 to take a family of four to see a show in town, and I don't want people to have to go to one show a year in that kind of sense and pick between whatever's coming from overseas. Also, we can recreate the shows here with Australian creatives and stuff. Whereas, and for actors as well, when you're in a show like one of the overseas products, you're told to stand here, stand there, and it's very like that production. But we can build those kind of international shows, but with Australians from scratch, which is also a unique thing for us, and we're excited about that.
Is there like a hope that by being this affordable option, you're going to introduce new people to theatre as well, not just the people that they might go to that one big show each year? Like you
Yeah.
might get someone that's never been to a theatre show because it's local, there's
Oh,
lots of restaurants around, and it's affordable.
we would love that.
Welcome to Pario Magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. Today, I'm joined by one of the creative minds behind Sydney's newest theatre space and the director of the upcoming The Addams Family musical, which will open at the Teatro at the Italian Forum in October. Welcome to Pario Magazine, Andrew Bevis.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, yeah, we're here today to chat about the upcoming season of The Addams Family
Yep.
and the new Teatro Theatre. Before we dive into that, I'd love to get to know a little bit more about who is Andrew away from the theatre.
Who is there is no Andrew away from the theatre. The Andrew away from the theatre gets up and walks the dog and then plans for the next day. Because at the moment, with up until now, I've been working in commercial theatre since I left school 30 years ago, and I think pretty much ever since then I've been doing either 8 shows a week or working on a big event or ceremony somewhere, or been either on stage or out the front or in the pit, conducting or directing or producing ever since then. So it's certainly not a 9 to 5 job, and it's certainly not 5 days a week. And particularly now that with the new Teatro opening, it's 7 days a week from the moment my eyes open until I can no longer stand. Is so
Mhm.
there's not a lot of Andrew away from the theatre.
That's fair enough. And it sounds like it's a very long, deep passion for theatre, having
Oh,
done
ever
all of
since
the different aspects.
yeah, I wasn't someone who at 16 said, I want to work in theatre. Like at 5 years old, I was like, I'm going to be a director. And I started putting on my first shows, cajoling kids. Directed my first show, I think when I was 7, which was an outdoor
Oh, wow.
production of Snow White. Then I directed The Wizard of Oz when I was 8, and then went on tour to other schools. And then I literally have been doing this. And also, my dad was a minister in a church, and so I had my own church hall with a big red curtain. I was seriously creating shows, dragging people into them like I was Cameron McIntosh ever since I was 10. So yeah, this is I don't know if I've lived before and picking up from somewhere else, but it's certainly all I have ever done is work in theatre.
And you're now one of the minds behind the Teatro at the Italian Forum.
Yep.
What sparked the idea for this theatre space, and
Uh,
how long has it been in the works?
Ah, the idea for a theatre space has been ever since I was a kid, really, wanting to then have my own church hall again. I've just done it on an incredibly grand scale where I used to make everything myself. I think now I hope I have to make everything myself. But I think probably we've been looking, Nathan, my partner in this, and I, for about 5 years to find a venue. We have spent a lot of time over in London, living over there. In London, there's a lot of off West End very successful commercial kind of spaces, and we don't really have that kind of thing in this country of this scale. And we also along the way have worked with a lot of people. Like my first, I went straight from school to working in Phantom of the Opera, so I kind of went from school to bang at that level and have ever since. And as a result of that, have met a lot of people along the way who we are calling upon to kind of turn this teatro into a very unique space in Sydney. So, in terms of how long it's been going on for, probably all my life. But really, we found the space at the end of last year, and we've been negotiating because renting a theatre is something you don't ever do in Australia; they don't exist. And so, developing that with the owner to really, it's been about 6 months specifically getting this building ready, but a long time up to this point.
And opening a new theatre in 2025, obviously no easy feat.
Uh,
What have been the biggest challenges along the way, and what is it about the Teatro that is going to set it apart from every other theatre in Sydney?
I think what is great is the location that's smack bang in the middle of the inner west, and there's no other theatre around like this. And we're hoping, Norton Street was once the thriving hub of this part of the city. So we want that to come back. We're working with council and various other organisations in the area to we're very uniting together to kind of make this a turning point for that. So what will make it different is like I said, because we've been doing this a long time, we've formed a lot of relationships with various theatrical creatives and companies around the world. And as such, we're able to get titles for shows that haven't yet been to Australia or even before the West End. We've got a few lined up, one of which is The Prong, which we've announced has only been in the States, hasn't been to the West End yet, but we're doing it here at the Teatro for the first time outside of America. I think that's what's unique. Our programming will be very popular. We want to get people into the theatre from the inner west who will have a new place to go and a new thing to do, which doesn't mean they have to go into the city, but also it's probably because of this, we can be more affordable because we're not, one of the problems for big commercial shows is they've got to set up a national tour that runs for 14 months. And moving from Sydney to Melbourne alone, that transfer can cost $1.5 million just to move the show. So we're kind of free of some of that stuff. Doesn't mean our shows couldn't go on from here to be other things, but we can kind of go, the show is for here for that period of time. We can budget for that and make that work. And then probably have, 8 to 10 different shows a year, plus cabarets and comedies and all sorts of a variety of stuff. That kind of makes it unique, I think.
Yeah, that sort of feeds into one of the key lines I picked up in the announcement was that the Teatro will present premium theatre at affordable prices. How important was that aspect of the theatre space for you?
Very important because I just think it's important that we get younger people into the theatre where they can afford to come and get them. We have to kind of get a culture of people going to the theatre again that maybe because a theatre Australia, it's let's face it, a very outdoor country and sport rules the day because of the weather. We're saying in the UK there is as much sport in the UK as there is in Australia, probably more because it's the UK, but there's as much culture as well because it's a winter for half the year and everyone's inside and everyone grew up singing around the campfire, around the fire in the pub. So I think affordability, it's very important that it's affordable and that families can come because shows again are very, very expensive. It can cost
Mhm.
$1,000 to take a family of four to see a show in town. And I don't want people to have to go to one show a year in that kind of sense and pick between whatever's coming from overseas. Also, we can recreate the shows here with Australian creatives and stuff. And for actors as well, when you're in a show like one of the overseas products, you're told to stand here, stand there. And it's very like that production, but we can build those kind of international shows, but with Australians from scratch, which is also a unique thing for us. And we're excited about that.
Is there like a hope that by being this affordable option, you're going to introduce new people to theatre as well, not just the people that they might go to that one big show each year? Like you
Yeah.
might get someone that's never been to a theatre show because it's local, there's
Oh,
lots of restaurants around, and it's affordable.
we would love that. We also want to run a program called Theatre Bridge, which we started about 4 years ago, which thus far was to link people who've come out of the major institutions like NIDA and WAPA and VCA and put them in front of all the people that basically stage the commercial musicals. We've now expanded that to kids and teens as well, which is effectively for the kids that are like in Annie and Les Mis. But we want to now expand that again into like local drama for local kids for their first introduction to theatre. That gets their families in as well, and they can feel part of a community. I suppose people used to go to church. I shouldn't say that, but that was their community before. We want to kind of build a community of people for the arts, Leichhardt, and spread that. So they feel, oh, I can go down there. My kids can go and do drama there. We can go and see professional shows. My kids can be part of something on stage there. So it's very much, yes, it's a professional well, musical theatre plays and stuff, but we also want a connection with the local community as well. They feel part of that. And so kids, we've got people already wanting to do work experience here. We want to filter that through and provide those opportunities, also training people for maybe they want to work in lighting or sound or costume or set
Mhm.
building in the future, but we can give those training opportunities here as well. So it's kind of like a living, breathing organism of theatre making for people who want to be part of that as well.
Love that. And sort of raising the curtain of the Teatro will be the Tony Award nominated show the Addams Family musical.
Yep.
What was it about that particular show that drew you and the team towards it as we want this as the opening
Well,
production?
conveniently, it's in October, which is when Halloween is. And there's the new Netflix Wednesday show that season two's come out. Funnily enough, or just as an interesting side note, The Addams Family is the most performed show in America through high schools, through all those kind of things, because people know what they're going to get into. And there's also great characters. And it's very, very, very well written. And it's very funny. And I think people really enjoy it and have a great night out at the theatre when they see the Addams Family. But it's also great. I like theatrical things, and Addams Family is very theatrical. And it's also a great opportunity for our cast, which is made up of all our Theatre Bridge graduates from the past 4 years, to do something which is combining all the skills of singing, dancing, and acting in a very, very fun, entertaining comedic way, which the audiences will always have oversee. They love the Adams Family. I think it's people who grew up with it.
And you mentioned the Wednesday Netflix
Mm.
show being hugely popular at the moment. Are you sort of expecting, or have you already seen a big interest in people coming along to the show?
Well, we open in October, so yes, but we're also going to have come and get your Wednesday wigs. So there's going to be merchandise. We want people to really get into that Halloween kind of fun vibe thing, and that's part of the Aldo bring to get families in, and maybe people are seeing some kids a show for the first time, and to be part of that. I mean, I always say to because I resident direct and musical direct a lot of musicals and shows around Australia. And I always say to my cast, how often is it that we have a bunch of people in an audience who put their phones down for 2 to 3 hours to pay attention to something else? And I think it's really good for young people to be part of something which doesn't involve that. I mean, in 4 months' time, they can't have those anyway. Social media is changing. But I just think it's something, that communal thing together, and I think something like the Adams Family will help kids, new audience, to go, "Oh, that looks really fun. Maybe I want to try that." I don't mean as a career, but this is something fun to do with their friends as well, to be part of something creative.
Yeah, I recently spoke to Lisa McCune, and she was speaking about how it used to be back in the day we have like a family would sit down to watch a show like Blue
Mm.
Healers, and we don't really have that now. You kind of have to take someone to a theater to have that of spirit of let's sit down and watch this all together.
Well, it was because I remember growing up, like every Wednesday night, Fast Forward or Full Frontal would be on, and we'd wait to the next week. Or Country Practice was Tuesday and Wednesday nights, and Sons and Daughters was Monday. Like it was, and you would wait to watch the show once. If you missed it, it was gone. And so those unique experiences are, and theatre's a bit like that, because if you don't see it in the theater, it's gone. It's not like it's filmed forever. Even though shows can run for years and years and years, that one performance is just all those people together, and that cast and creatives and that team, for that coming together to create a story together. I mean, that's been happening for thousands of years, hasn't it?
And you spoke about how you're adapting shows for Australia and for the Teatro space. How have you had to adapt the Adams Family for the space?
Have we adapted? We haven't really adapted the space. We're bringing everything in new, because this is kind of the first time we're doing a show in this, and we're turning it into a big commercial theatre from now on. So we're bringing a lot of sound and lighting and rejigging it to be what you'd get in town. Um, I mean, it's a unique space in the future that we can have any configuration of seating in there. We can do things in the round. We can do cabaret in the middle. We can do different stuff. So in the future, we'll be trying different ways of doing theatre. I'm also very into immersive kind of theatre experiences. I want to do stuff like they maybe do in Sleep No More in New York, because we've got all these amazing rehearsal rooms, and we've got commercial kitchens. It's a whole art centre waiting to be utilised. We could really do all sorts of different dinner theatre, do musicals like it's a dinner theatre experience, or do immersive experiences through the whole building. So every time people come here, it's something that sparks their imagination. And I think what we've got at the Chat is a building that can do that, because we're not stuck with just a proscenium arch and fixed seats. We can play with it. So as we roll out our shows, we'll always be trying to do different ways, because also I want to be interested. I don't want to do the same thing every time as well. I want to
Yep.
bring people together to create new stuff. Yeah.
Keep it fun and fresh for everybody involved.
Yes. Because as I said to you, my entire life is in the theatre. I might as well make it fun for myself.
And then as we wrap up, now that the Teatro and the Adams Family have been announced to the world, how are you feeling as we lead up to opening night?
It's amazing how you can not sleep but not feel tired, if that makes sense, because it's just adrenaline. Keep going because it's not only like planning our next year of shows, it's also turning this into a venue for the shows and also starting to build the relationship with the businesses in the area. Um, it's a lot, but it's fun. It's kind of like those old Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland films. Let's put a show right here in the barn with your friend. It's a bit going back to how I was when I was putting shows on the church hall. It just this time it's very real.
As we mentioned, the Addams Family opens at the Teatro at the Italian Forum on October 3rd.
Yep,
Tickets start at just $65 and are available now at teatroitalianforum.com.au.
yep. Or at Ticketmaster, go straight to Ticketmaster as well. Doing that.
Perfect. But where's the best place for people to support you and track your creative journey moving forward?
On the website, we've also got all the Instas. We've got Teatro, Instagram. If anyone wants to be involved in a Theatre Bridge programs, there's a Theatre Bridge Instagram and a Theatre Bridge Kids and Teens, which are very popular. But you can also just walk in the front door and say hello. We're sitting there, we're working at the front desk and making this happen. A lot of people have been dropping in because people are really excited that this space is coming to life after a very long time for the community and for the people of Sydney.
Wonderful. Alrighty. Thank you so much for taking the time and good luck with it all. Very excited to come and check out Adam.
Thank you. See you later. Thank you.